With over 3 decades of experience in the fitness industry and also being very instrumental in changing the perception of fitness being from skinny to actually healthy, we have someone who believes that there is no magic in being fit. It's just about exercising and eating healthy. Thank you so much, Yasmin, for joining us today on the NDTV Detol Banega Swasth India Facebook Live.
Thank you so much for Ambika for inviting me on the show. It's a real pleasure. And let me tell you, it's not from being skinny to being fit. I was never skinny.
I mean, yeah, I was reading your journey. It's incredible, how you really transformed. And in fact, you inspire so many people. Yasmin, the first question before we actually start taking questions from our viewers, you are passionate about, building a strong, flexible and healthy body. But in simple words, what according to you is really a healthy body?
So firstly, Ambika, let me tell you that when people say working out and, I want to work out, I like to find the pulse of the person about what do they like to do, right? A lot of times we get caught up in the rut that, oh, I saw Katrina Kaif doing this exercise or this form of exercise and I should do it. Or I see Deepika doing this. And, basically, of course, they are our role models and, we inspire to be like them and follow their regime because all of them are so fit and focus so much time on, their health and fitness. But what I like to tell everybody who I come across is first find that mojo that you have with fitness. What is it that you enjoy doing? And I don't mean like, is it weights or is it Pilates? Or it's like, do I like strength training? Do I like to die at the end of every session? Do I like to feel relaxed and, enjoy the journey? So there are different personalities that enjoy different things. And I think it's really first important to find what suits you, what you enjoy doing, because that is what will become your lifestyle, right? So that's one. And of course, eating healthy goes hand in glove with it. And by eating healthy, it doesn't mean you need to be on a diet or you don't eat this or you don't eat that. It just means finding out the foods that work for your body, right? Like for some of us, like for me, example, let me just tell you, gluten doesn't work for me. So wheat, even though wheat, we've been having it since we were kids, chapati, wheat doesn't work. I'm intolerant to it and I feel like very stuffed and bloated and constipated. I know dairy doesn't work for me. So it's just finding out that one thing. And of course, there are things like limit your fried food and your sugar intake, which is a must for not just weight loss, but just for your health per se, So I just feel finding that right balance of eating healthy and doing the right kind of exercise and doing it in a way that it's going to become a lifestyle for you and it's not just a short gap.
So I think two very important things you've said is actually finding out what works with you in every way, whether it's not only just eating, but also in working out. Like I was reading something, very interesting where you had said that you need to know what works with your body and what you enjoy rather than following a trend.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely believe that, I just feel like, and I've seen that with everyone, that when you're enjoying it, it becomes a lifestyle.
Again, another question before we again take a viewer question. Fit obviously means physical health, but mental well-being is also important. And especially, after the pandemic, a lot of us are struggling with it. How does exercising actually uplift one's mood and how does it help, Yasmin?
So exercising releases a hormone called endorphins, and endorphins are your feel happy hormones. In a very simple language, term is like you release endorphins when you work out, and endorphins are your feel happy hormones which help elevate your mood. So like I'll tell you another example. I'm going to constantly go back and forth examples in my life because it gives reference rather than just giving
it's easy to understand.
Right. And when I have a fight or when I'm angry or when I'm upset and I just go do a 20-minute workout or a walk or a run or Pilates, I just calm my mind. And I've realized one thing in life is never make a decision when you're upset and angry. Sometimes somebody says something that really upsets you. I never react to it until I've calmed down because I think you make the most irrational decisions when you're upset and angry. So I always like to work out, get my feel good hormones, and then decide how I want to deal with the situation in life. So I think the feel good hormones are what really help with depression. And right now we're seeing so much of it in so many different forms, because of course not only are you homebound, people have lost jobs, people have lost livelihoods, and it's not a very good situation. This pandemic has taken a lot away from each one of us. So I think we have to learn to embrace it, because there is nothing we can do to change it. And the quicker we do that, I think the happier we will be.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to take my first question on that note. Obviously, what kind of exercise Arvind wants to know should we be doing to build lung strength? So obviously, post-COVID, everybody is worried about their lung health. So Arvind wants to know.
Definitely cardiovascular exercise, where you're doing aerobic, where you're doing things where you need to breathe in oxygen and and get your lungs to function. So more than 20 minutes of walking, swimming, cycling, running, whatever works for you.
Okay, so we need to.
And if you don't have means to do any of those, then I would just suggest that find, like, I do a series on my Instagram of cardiovascular fitness. So like, skipping jacks, or it's running in place, or it's high knees, or it's side to side taps. There are different things that you can do for 20 minutes, just being in a mat space.
In fact, the other question, Abhishek is asking, as we all know that there are many post-COVID effects, how can we deal with them?
Abhishek, the first thing you do is post-COVID is do a body checkup, your blood work, of course, because I've had COVID, and one of the first things my doctor made me do was do my blood work to find out, whether everything is okay. And obviously you're taking your vitamin C, your zinc for a month after you've had COVID, to make sure that, your vitamins are all there. And besides that, I think starting slowly. So when I was recovering from COVID, the first week, I just meditated and did breathing exercises. So I reached out to friends of mine who are yoga instructors, but more than that, he does meditation. And I reached out to another friend of mine, Deepika, who does yoga. So I did a lot of stretch and breath work post-COVID, and then slowly started getting back into my routine of working out.
Actually, we also did something with Deepika, and she was saying, breathing, it is really important.
Right.
In fact, there is a viewer, he's asked, what is your fitness mantra in these difficult times? Somebody wants to know.
I like to see the glass half full rather than half empty for everything in life. So that's just me. And sometimes my friends get irritated with me because they're like, can you just stop with the positive? But I honestly feel like I am one of those people who tries to find a positive in every situation in life. And but of course, that's just who I am. But my normal mantra that I follow is be fit because you deserve it. Because I think each person deserves to be fit, and it's self-love, and you have to do something for yourself. And if you are fit, you can handle any situation, that life throws at you.
I think the word which you use, self-love, that's very, very important, because many times, especially for women, do you see this trend changing? You've been in the industry for so many years. Many times, women take a back seat and they're like, oh, we need to drop the kids to school. Do you see that changing, more and more women coming out and actually spending time on themselves?
Like, that all my celebs are mostly women. And of course, for them, they're a different generation where they matter, and like their life revolves around what they do, and they're all working. But of course, we do have a lot of housewives that come in, and it's really interesting to see that shift from when I started 30 years ago to now, where women are actually reorganizing their life to make time for themselves. And I wouldn't say that it's a great number, but it's at least a start. And I always tell my friends, I'm like, you guys find time, even with your kids and you're dropping, to go to kitty parties and to go out for lunches or to go shopping. So, how difficult is it to find 1 hour at least 3 times a week to focus on your fitness, if not every day?
Absolutely. It's about prioritizing yourself. Again, going back to what you said,
Yeah,
self-care.
and see what happens with kiddie parties or with other things, it's more peer pressure. Like a lot of my friends will call me and say, you're the most boring person we know because you never come out for lunches. And I'm like, dude, I don't have time to come out for lunches and I don't enjoy them. I'd rather be working. Yeah, every Saturday night you take me wherever you want. I'm very happy to have that one day of doing nothing because I know Sunday's not a working day.
Yes.
And now I was just talking to my husband earlier this week to say, I think we should take Saturdays off. So after working for 30 years, my goal is to take Saturday and Sunday off.
But still, you'll be doing it 5 times a week. Yasmin, Ankit Chaurasya, we're getting a lot of questions. He wants to know, how long do people need to stop their regular exercise after recovering from COVID?
So, Ankit, like I said earlier, I think I've already addressed it, that post-COVID, you need to go slow. So you need to first focus on breathing and stretching and building that internal strength. And then it's very different for each person. Like even in my family, all four of us had it, my husband, me, and the two kids. And we all recovered differently. So for me, I recovered the fastest because I was very tuned in with my body and my breath. My husband actually took a month to recover from COVID. He was weak and he couldn't do anything. And I think after 2 weeks, I actually started pushing him to start going down for a walk for 20 minutes, and it was like just walk at a very easy pace for 20 minutes or even 10 minutes in the house to start with. And then you make it 20. And then depending on how your body reacts, then you go back to your normal routine. But what I'd like to specifically tell you is don't push it. Okay, post-COVID is not a time to test your willpower or your strength and stamina because COVID does take a different toll on each one of us. So be kind to your body, nurture your body after COVID to get back to doing everything that you were before COVID.
Yeah, so gradually, I think takes it. In fact, a lot of people have asked the same thing. Even Raju wanted to know. So yeah, gradually, I think that's what I've answered all. So very interesting question, which I think as mothers, as women, Shivani wants to know, Yasmin, what type of exercise should we do to reduce belly fat? That's a...
Pilates is great for addressing belly fat. And that's one of the reasons that I got into Pilates is because after the kids, I was like fit and, I would say I had a good body, but I just had that little belly fat that would never go, whatever I did. And it was after the babies, right? So it was very easy to blame that, but I didn't want to live with it. So I started researching on what is it that I can do to help get rid of the belly fat. And I found Pilates, and that's when I went and studied it. So what Pilates does is, it's not like doing 100 or 200 or 300 crunches. It works your core from inside out. So you're literally, and your core is not just your abdominals. Your core is a mix of 4 muscles, which is your deepest abdominal muscles called your transverse abdominis, your deepest spinal muscles called your multifidi, your diaphragm, and your pelvic floor. So I like to term it as a Coke can, right? So it's your transverse abdominis, your multifidi, your bottom is your pelvic floor, which holds everything in. And the straw the top is your diaphragm and the bottom is your pelvic floor. Yeah. So actually your transverse abdominis is a muscle that wraps around, right? Okay. And the straw is your multifidi, which is your spine.
So you actually work out everything. So you think Pilates is...
Pilates, and of course, having said that, watching what you eat. So you have to cut out fat from, a lot of fat from your diet. Like your fat should be at minimal And that's the only way you can beat the belly fat.
I'm a huge fan of Pilates. So just coming a personal question. It's also like it. I mean, let me put it that way. It's a preventive form of exercise, right? It does help posture. I see that myself.
It's a preventive and progressive form of exercise, if I may say so. So it's preventive because if you do Pilates, you, like I said earlier, you work your muscles from inside out. So you're strengthening the core muscles. So everything from the mid core is radiating outwards. So your strength is coming from your core to your extremities, right? And that's why it allows you to stay away from injuries. And at the same time, you have all international sports people doing Pilates, like Cristiano Ronaldo does Pilates. So I think there's no better. Of course, the film industry, the Hollywood film industry is doing Pilates, but like Cristiano Ronaldo swears by Pilates. So, it's like you can be preventive, where you prevent yourself from getting injuries. It is curative. So it cures you when you have a problem, whether it's your knee, your back, your shoulder, your leg, hip, whatever. It cures you. And then it's progressive, where it challenges you if you're an athlete.
Okay, great. I think you've really explained that well. So Shashi Bhagat wants to know, Yasmin, is it okay to cleanse your body by fasting time to time?
Yes, I think if it works for you and you don't have any problem with fasting time to time, you can definitely do it. I would check with my GP or whichever medical person I'm going to, whether my body is okay to do it and how often you should do it. Like, I hope you're not doing it too often because it will have repercussions. So you need to space it out.
Just a couple of quick questions we can take. I think everybody wants to know about for the children. Obviously, most of them are glued on to screen right now, whether it's online schooling, and we do see obesity is going up quite a bit. Any tips for that?
Yeah, in fact, you won't believe. I'm thinking of writing a book on this, so that's in the pipelines. I just thought about it a week. Not even a week back, actually. But yeah, I think more than anyone, people who've suffered are children because there are no playgrounds to go to. There are no school grounds to go to. They're suddenly stuck in front of a laptop because everything is online. I dread to think what it's going to do to their eyes. And also your skin. So I hope that all of you know that when you sit in front of a computer for many, many hours, you must apply sunscreen. Okay, that's blue light. And I just did a post on this with Dr. Jayashree Sharad, who's a dermatologist, skin specialist, about how the blue light causes pigmentation. So even for children, it's really important that you put sunscreen on your face. And sunscreen doesn't mean this much. It means 2 lines on your finger. And I've done a post on that as well, where it's a reel on how to apply the right amount of sunscreen, because it is going to affect your face. But having said that, for children, it's very, let's see, as adults, we can test. I mean, we can kind of, what do you call it? Not direct your mind, but we can train our mind and our body to work out in one confined space. But for children, they need activity and whatever. So I would say there are a lot of these online gamings that happen, where you do stuff standing and you're either kicking or whatever. So I would really say, and kids love their, like, of course, not a laptop, but you can put it on your TV and it's like a physical activity. And to get them motivated, I think the full family should start to do it and get them to move. But it's really, really, really important for children to move for at least an hour a day. I can't specify, guys, how important it is for your kids to move, especially because they're doing online training. They're not getting out there. they need sunlight. So I mean, you need to find, if you're privileged enough to live in a building that has a compound, just
Yes.
tell the kids to go down and run every evening, even if it's for 10 minutes, like just get them to move.
They need that movement. I think, you're sharing such
Yeah.
great tips,
If you
Yasmin,
have-
even about the blue light, what you just said. I think many people are unaware about it,
Yeah, even if you can get a skipping rope and get kids to do 1,000
physical exercise.
Start with 10, go to 20, go to 50, go to 100, go to 200, get them to skip, but make sure that they're wearing shoes when they're skipping.
Yeah.
Bare feet skipping on marble can be very, very harmful to your joints.
Yes.
So please take care. Shoes are really important because you need that cushion on any exercise that's impactful. Like I've just recently, somebody asked me about barefoot running. And I said, yes, great. If you're on the beach, barefoot running is excellent.
Yeah.
If you're on the grass, barefoot running is excellent. If you're on a certain, the running tracks, you can run barefoot because there's shock absorbance already on it. But on cement, if you're going to run bare feet, you are definitely going to have joint issues.
So awareness on all this is also very, very important. And parents definitely need to make it a routine, or like you said, get involved in it. Just 2 questions. I know we're taking a lot of your time. One is on immunity, right? Everybody's talking about immunity. There is a huge connection again, immunity and fitness.
Most definitely, exercise helps build immunity just as much as food helps build immunity. Of course, to build your immunity, you have to eat the right kinds of food. You have to stay away from drugs, alcohol, smoking as much as you can. And you need to work out, and you need to work out to nourish your body, not to break your body. So if you're just going to go and do gymming and whatever, yes, you are going to build strength, but for immunity, make sure that even if you're gymming, that you're breathing in the right rhythm. So the breath with the exercise is really, really important. And of course, food and your vitamins, and making sure that you're getting all of them.
So what you said about breathing, many times we see with parents, we all, tend to tell them to be active. But many times they can't move, and it's only the breathing exercises they do. Yasmin, any tip that how, because of COVID, they're home, right? They're not really going out to the markets. How can they stay active and healthy, so that, even sitting at home for the elderly?
You're talking about children or elders?
The elderly, our parents,
So, I did a really interesting thing during COVID is I suddenly realized that I was training people online for hours at an end. Sometimes it was like 8 hours a day, where I had back-to-back clients from the time I woke up. And of course, when you're in the gym, you're moving around, you're handing them weight, you're just sitting and instructing and saying, okay, take that mat, okay, take that band, okay, take this. And for 8 hours, I'd just be sitting in the same spot. And because I was home and we have help, they would get my water, my coffee, my lunch, my whatever. I was doing this all while being online. After a week of that, I suddenly realized, of course, in the evenings, I used to work out, and in the mornings, I would do some stuff. But after a week, I just realized that, oh my God, for 8 hours, I'm not moving. And I wear a watch. I wear a fitness watch, which tells me how many steps I've taken. Sometimes, like by 5 in the evening, I'd look at my watch and I'd moved 400 meters. That's it, right? And I was aghast. So what I started doing is I started using my smartphone, which I think all of us have. And the reason I'm specifying on it is because we all have smartphones. And so in a smartphone, you can set multiple alarms. So every hour from 10 in the morning, I started setting an alarm saying, walk for 5 minutes. And I so I had an alarm at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, saying walk for 5 minutes, walk. So every hour my alarm would ring and it would say walk for 5 minutes. And sometimes, like if I was training a client or online, I would literally stand up and say, hey, I just need to move. And I would just march in place for 5 minutes while I was telling my client what to do, because I just felt like, oh my
activity.
God, all the time. And no one's going to mind if you get up and you walk, as long as you're attentive and as long as you're still giving them. So that is one way. So imagine if for 8 hours you've set an alarm every 5 minutes, every hour to walk for 5 minutes. At the end of 8 hours, how many minutes have you walked?
True, actually.
40
minutes, which is amazing. So you've definitely got the steps up. I mean, that's a great way to keep to also remind yourself.
Yeah, and to also get the blood flowing, to feel. I mean, there's so many things related to moving, right? We do. We have come from the animal kingdom, so we are actually supposed to move and not have sedentary lives.
Yeah, which we've, COVID, no COVID. Just a last question, any message? Because so many people follow you. I mean, you are an inspiration. I mean, hats off to you. I don't feel like, I want to ask you so many questions, whether it's about the desi foods, which everybody's talking about now, the fad diets, but maybe some other time. But any message you would like to give the viewers, the youngsters, because, there's so much happening now, whether it's, just people stop eating rice, they don't eat sugar, sweet, salt.
I think the most important message that I want to give people, Ambika, is find someone to speak to, because sometimes you miss out on talking to people about how you're feeling, and I think that is what leads to a lot of problems and a lot of depression that we're seeing around the place. So whether it's a parent, whether it's a friend, whether it's a relative, whether it's a cousin, find that one person who's your person that you can communicate with about the deepest feelings that you have, because I think this pandemic has brought about so many insecurities and fears and restlessness in all of us that if we don't share it, it keeps getting bottled up until one day it's just going to explode. So yes, food is definitely, we've covered food. I've told you, like, don't stay away from, fat foods, sugar, find the right kind of food for your body. Every exercise, move for at least 20 minutes, 10 minutes, if not 20, 10 minutes a day. But also find that one person that you can talk to about how are you feeling? Are you scared? You have somebody who is going to be non-judgmental, and you can be that person for somebody else as well. This is a time where we need to emote and talk about our feelings, because the bottling up is what really scares me. So, like, I'll tell you, for both my sons, I have two sons, and for both my sons, my nieces are their person to talk to. And when they were little, I said, it's okay, don't talk to me, find someone. For my nieces, it was me. So it was just like the perfect fit. But I just feel that, I think that it's so, so important that we need to find that person to speak to. We need to watch what we eat. We need to eat healthy. We need to work out. All of this makes such a big difference.
Yeah, we need to be mindful. Actually, that's also something what you said. And I think talking to people, sometimes we just miss out and we don't realize what we're really going through.
Yeah.
It's really, thank you so much, Yasmin. I think the amount you've shared with us will really mean a lot to so many people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ambika. Thank you for having me on this show.